and I am from Kerala, India. And I am representing Global Youth Movement, and I am also a core member of 1 billion Youth for Peace, or the host of this event of URI Youth Connection Cafe. So, as we are hosting today, first of all, it's an important thing to let you all understand about how or what is the 1 billion Youth for Peace initiative. So, for the next few minutes, I will be introducing or explaining you about the movement. Okay, am I audible? Shall I start?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, keep going, Sanoop. That's great.
Okay, about 1 million
Yes.
youth movement. Okay, it's an initiative and it's a unique and ambitious project in the field of interfaith relations in its design, scale, and scope. We foster empathy, mutual understanding, and advance common action between people of diverse faith through their shared efforts. So, starting from our beginning journey, we have been working among various groups for so many years, and the need for a wide network of young peace lovers was in demand. Hence, the Cosmic Community Center resolved to initiate the 1 billion Youth for Peace project. The official launch was on 24th August 2019 during the URI Annual Youth Assembly held at Kerala, which was inaugurated by District Superintendent and our Dr. Abraham Karikam, who is the Asia's General Secretary of URI. And the logo was also released on that day. And on the same day, around 200 young people from different educational institutions attended. So our campaign works mainly in the process of taking a peace pledge. So we have a systematic peace pledge, and while we are making them a part of this campaign, all the youths are advised to take a peace pledge, and we have a regulated peace pledge. These there, and it is one of the main campaign, and also a team of volunteers under the coordination of Cosmic Community Center conduct the campaign in schools, colleges, other education institutions, youth clubs, social institutions, associations, etc., and introduce the movement and make them partners in this global campaign. Cosmic Community Center monitors the progress of the movement, and on completion of the pledge taking ceremony, a report from the head of the institution is obtained and kept as a part of outcome impact indicator. And we are the ultimate aim of our initiative is to what our as our name suggest that we want to include 1 billion youth from all around the world, and we are almost crossing 1 million and all, and it's just started last year, and last year no 2019, and we are still on our momentum, and we have got a good momentum so far. Even in the COVID period and in the lockdown, we were able to make this initiative much popular among many schools and colleges around India and outside India too. And we have different partners about and who are part of the URI also. They are Savodaya Shanti Sena Sri Lanka, Earth Charter International, Green Hope Foundation Canada, Earth for Earth Foundation India, and Global Youth Movement URI Multi-Region CC also. And we have many country coordinators outside India, like Elisa, and we have many country coordinators are there, and we have almost taken several peace pledge campaigns and functions. And also last year we hosted the first international student summit of religions on climate justice, and was organized by United URI South India region with resource partnership of John Paul II Center for Interreligious Dialogue, Rome. The summit was hosted at Kerala, and was Ms. Kirkashan Basu, founder president of Green Hope Foundation and recipient of International Children Peace Prize from Canada, was among the youth leaders who participated in the summit. And we have a good core team who is still managing, and that's so far about our journey and our ultimate aim, as I said earlier, to make and include about 1 million youth from all around the world for this peace initiative. And what our message and motto is, but to have a nuclear free world and peace initiatives and peace campaigns. And and, and I want all of you to part of join the initiative and be part of this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanoop. And so just to say for everybody, you can go to the 1 Billion Youth for Peace website that I've just put in the chat. And I think Sanoop would to use the pledge that they've written, which is amazing in your communities. I'm sure Isaac will say more. But Isaac, over to you.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Sanoop, for the introduction to our 1 Billion Youth for Peace. I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So glad to see you all, and the Youth Connection Cafes, as this is the fourth, I think fifth one that we are hosting, and a safe space for youth, young-minded, young friends, young folks all around the URI platform. We are here to celebrate peace and to understand the different aspects of a peaceful world, and to hear the different sessions, including to hear our wonderful lineup of speakers. So let me introduce myself. My name is Isaac S. Thomas. I'm speaking to you from Kerala, India. I am part of the 1 Billion Youth for Peace and the Global Youth Movement CC. Now serving as a Global Council Trustee from the multi-region. I've been part of URI for the past 10 years, and it's been a wonderful journey to be part of the URI and to be part of this amazing group of young peace builders. So, without further ado, I would, with respect to the time, let's go to our first session of our speakers. And, I'm super excited because we have such wonderful speakers from all around the world to comment their youth visions for peace and to share with us their knowledge, their experience, and their ideas of a peaceful world. So what do you guys say? Let's go to our first session. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if everyone's here? Good. So let me introduce our first speaker. And our first speaker is one of our senior youth leaders from URI, Ms. Sharon M. Vaswani from the Global Youth CC Philippines. Sharon has been with URI for the past decade, and she has literally grown up in the interfaith scene, living as a practicing Hindu in the predominantly Catholic country of the Philippines. By profession, she is a licensed doctor of optometry, and her passion also lies in having conversations and giving youth-led workshops on the themes of interfaith education, social and environmental activism, among others. So she's a core team member of the URI Global Youth CC and has been involved in stimulating conversations between youths engaged in various issues across the globe. And moreover, in this recent pandemic, they have begun the Stay Home and Be Hopeful movement, which has inspired countless of individuals worldwide. So Sharon, thank you for being here, and the floor is yours.
Okay. Mabuhay, namaste. Thank you for having me. I hope I'm audible. All right, so let me begin my sharing. Everywhere we look today, we can see the advancement of man, how the human mind has invented, created, and built a whole new world. Yet strangely, it's that same human mind that continues to allow the destruction of countless of homes and lives because of gunfire and wars, the lack of access to healthcare and proper sanitation, and the exploitation of the different stratas in society. At present, more than 70% of the people in the world own only roughly 3% of the total wealth. We live in a world where there is a lot of political polarization, where healthcare remains to be a rising area of concern, and discrimination is heavily prevalent. So I'm not going to talk in numbers. Why? Because the numbers are staggering, and even so may be overwhelming. But then again, there are so many more people in this world. So collectively, this vortex of poverty, our great socio-economic divide, all of these are our problems to solve. Currently, we're in a room filled with lawyers, engineers, accountants, and doctors, but we must consider ourselves first as humanitarian by nature. Together, we're all living the same dream, only that it manifests in different ways. So I know some of you may say that being human is given, but keeping our humanity is a choice. So today, I ask you all to choose humanity. Let's choose to act now. I'm not asking you to share in your funds or give your monetary contributions, but simply by giving your time, your compassion, belief, and faith. All of these are valuable inputs in our fight against the injustices happening around us. It's not enough that we just talk about these issues, but we need to make these solutions tangible. So it's all about the little things that individually we all can make in order to make this difference. If together we're conscious about what we need to do, we can come together and make this a future that we are going to look forward to. It is our social responsibility as part of, may I say, the more privileged or the more blessed part of society to give back and shape the way that it is going forward. I mean, we all belong to one world, and it is on us to be able to take care of that as we leave our legacy. We all need to become socially aware because when we come together and dream together as a people, that's when change happens. You know, the most beautiful thing about having dreams is that it's in your hands how big your dreams become. No one can tell you that your dream is too small or your dream can't come true or your dream can't be allowed just because you know you may be a girl or a boy or probably you're coming from a certain area. So don't be afraid to dream because really they do come true. I invite you all to turn our shared dreams into a reality because after what we've seen in 2020, even the virtual life has become very much our new reality. So once again, salamat, dhanyavad, thank you very much, and I invite you all to dream with me.
Thank you, Sharon, for your inspiring voice and your inspiring visions for peace. And thank you for inviting us to dream big as a global community. I was just reading through the mantra, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, where the important aspect of the mantra is that, the sage does not pray for his own clan or his own nation, but for the whole world. And all the religious, being in this interfaith organization, we learn about religions that, pray for the entire world and not just for themselves. So dream big and, as Sharon mentioned, we all play our part in leading our future to a blissful future, to a glorious future. So thank you, Sharon, once again, on behalf of the 1 billion Youth for Peace, we, our humble thanks. Let's move on to our next speaker. We have a young speaker from Bosnia and Herzegovina, Emina Frljak. She works as program coordinator within the Youth for Peace, CC, based in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina. She also serves as International Youth Committee member within Religions for Peace. She holds a BA in Educational Science of University of Sarajevo, where she is completing her MA in the same field. She is also doing her second MA in Interreligious Studies and Peace Building. She has a long-lasting experience in peace-building processes and is very active in the field of interreligious dialogue through her engagement in Youth for Peace, Religions for Peace, and our own United Religions Initiative. Her expertise includes designing and facilitating educational programs. Besides this, she is very interested in using social media for education and awareness raising purposes, and she is currently coordinating an online campaign aimed at countering hate speech. Dear Emina, thank you for being with us on this auspicious day in this wonderful event, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Isaac. I hope you can hear me. Great. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is my pleasure and honor to be here and share a word or two about how I envision peace. Once, a woman called Jane Addams said that true peace is not merely the absence of war, it is the presence of justice. But how do we define justice? How do we define true peace? Today, I'll try to tell you that from my perspective. I have a vision of peace that I hope that we as humanity will be able to live up to. I envision a world where no child will live in poverty, a world where there will be zero hunger, a world where parents won't go to bed thinking and wondering how they will feed their children, not to say buy them clothes, books, and send them to school. I envision a world where every child, every girl, and every boy will have the access to quality education, no matter who they are, where they come from, or where they live. And this is justice and peace. A world where clean and fresh water won't be a privilege of the lucky ones, but a right of every human being, regardless of his or her background, place of birth, or place of residence. This is also peace. A world where every girl and woman will walk freely through the streets of their cities, villages, and towns, without fear of being assaulted or raped. A world where women will be equally paid as their male counterparts for the same jobs they do. This is also peace. I envision a world where decent work won't be a privilege, but a right of each and every human being, where people will be able to earn their income and live with dignity. A world where young people will be able to secure their future because of their abilities, not because their affiliation to this or that political party. In my own context, this is peace as well. Peace is when our systems are just, inclusive, and peaceful. When our legal institutions do their jobs and apply rule of law without exception. When a politician who commits a crime is ordinary citizens in the eyes of law. In my own context, this is peace and justice. A world where human beings will live in harmony with Mother Earth, where our rivers, seas, and lakes will be clean, will be filled with fresh and clean water, not plastic bottles. A world where trees and forests won't be exploited for the purposes of making big money, but they will be our lungs. A world where animals won't be exploited and exterminated for our needs. This is also peace. I have a vision of a world where religion won't be used as a weapon of war and won't trigger fear among people when it's mentioned. A world when I say that I'm a Muslim, people won't step back and feel endangered. This is peace for me as well. I envision a world where freedom of religion or belief will be human right guaranteed to all of us, regardless of our religion, regardless are we minority or majority group somewhere, or regardless our belief or disbelief in God. This is peace as well. A world where human beings won't be judged by their religious, ethnic, or national background, by the color of their skin, by their gender, their sexual orientation, or by their disabilities, but by their character, their potentials, and abilities. And for me, this is peace too. Peace is not a mere absence of war and direct violence, but rather peace is a presence of all above mentioned things and much more. And today, on the occasion of the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, I would like to emphasize that peace is absence of ideologies such as Nazism and fascism, ideologies that impose cultural, structural, and direct violence, ideologies which first strip human beings of their rights, dehumanize them, and then strip them of their lives. So today, before we continue, I would just ask us to take a moment of silence to pay respect to those who lost their lives during the Holocaust, but also during the all oppressive regimes that we encountered during our history. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Emina, for your inspiring and powerful words. The way you shared how the different aspects of peace works and how you view peace in such a way, has actually inspired all our participants here. And, to understand that peace is not just the mere absence of violence or war, but a practice, and a lifestyle where we live in harmony with the whole world. And I really we really moving into the emotions that you have shared. Like what can we do in a sense? It's really amazing that I have literally seen a quote in Facebook, and it mentions like this. I always wondered why somebody didn't do something about that. Then I realized I was somebody. So it really, it triggers our ways of how we think. And I believe, the different aspects of peace that you shared is something that we should keep closely within ourselves. And thank you for sharing your emotions and your ideas, your vision with us. So let's move on to our next speaker. We have a wonderful young speaker from Cape Town, from Anytown, Las Vegas. Well, I welcome Erin Adarve, who is a board member of the Youth Council for Anytown, Las Vegas, a non-profit organization dedicated to uplifting youth while breaking down the barriers of discrimination and injustice. Last year, she put out a short online podcast series called the Anytown Peace Series, where different spiritual beliefs were highlighted. She is also an undergraduate student attending the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in the United States, where she studies pre-professional biology. Her efforts are geared towards a career in public health, and she hopes to one day integrate her work with non-profit organizations within her career. So thank you, Erin, for being here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So a week ago, I was presented with a question: what does peace mean to you? To me, peace means basic human security and equal opportunity. Let's talk about it. In the United States alone, 38.1 million people are living in poverty, meaning that they live with an income of less than $33 per day, according to the 2018 census. At the start of 2020, there were 8,000 people experiencing homelessness in the state of Nevada. In the United States overall, that number rises to 570,000 people. In a count done by the United Nations in 2005, 15 years ago, there were 150 million people who were experiencing homelessness globally. Imagine how much that number is sure to have risen during this pandemic. Now, the questions that arise after me telling you these statistics are: why are there so many, and how can we help? For the sake of time, and because I come from the United States, my personal viewpoint on why poverty and homelessness exist at such a large rate is because of our current economic state. In February 2019, Michael Tubbs, the mayor of Stockton, California, began a basic income demonstration in which 130 randomly selected families who live in zip codes at or below the median income level are given $500 a month for the next 18 months. When asked why, Tubbs said, "We're doing it because we realize that something is structurally wrong in America when 1 in 2 Americans can't afford one $400 emergency. We're doing it because we realize something is structurally wrong when people are working 2 and 3 jobs, doing all the jobs no one in here wants to do, and can't pay for necessities like rent, like healthcare, like childcare." In one particular instance, Tubbs heard back from a young individual named Thomas, who is currently being benefited by the program. Thomas told Tubbs that the extra $500 a month aided in scoring an interview for a better job. The job that Thomas had occupied did not pay for time off. In fear of being unable to make rent nor feed his children, Thomas was stuck in a situation that allowed limited mobility. With the $500, Thomas was able to take time off to get an interview. Consequently, Thomas got the job. It paid more, and now Thomas is able to use the extra money to better provide for his children, all while making more money and working less hours. The anecdote of Michael Tubbs' initiative, an example of how it aided a particular young individual, is a prime example of how the United States economy is failing its people. Currently, the US operates under the neoliberal economic theory. Neoliberalism is the belief that markets can regulate themselves, unaided by any outside force, such as the government. The neoliberal economic theory promotes the idea that redistribution efforts, such as raising the minimum wage, are counter-progressive because it punishes the successful and awards the undeserving. The problem of neoliberalism lies within the passive deregulation of the market economy. And the solution is setting a few key principles with the end goal of creating a more equitable society. As a consequence of that thinking, over the last 30 years in the USA alone, the top 1% has grown $21 trillion richer, while the bottom 50% have grown $900 billion poorer, a pattern of widening inequality that has largely repeated itself across the world. The solution begins with the regulation of markets. The global financial crisis of 2008 proved that the deregulation of markets can be disastrous. Markets must be tended to and not allowed to regulate themselves. Furthermore, in order to garner economic growth, inclusion of a wide variety of people is needed. Additionally, the purpose of a corporation should not solely revolve around the enrichment of its shareholders, but rather the enrichment of stakeholders, customers, workers, community, and shareholders alike. However, in order for the economy to be reconstructed, a vast majority of people need to be knowledgeable of the detrimental nature of neoliberalism and voice their opinion on the situation. So for now, continue to raise awareness and be updated on ways you personally can improve the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin, for giving us that update with regards to the situations that you're facing in the United States, and with regards to the global concept of how we are moving through this trying times. Because like with regards to all the participants here, like we have 50 young folks listening to this, and I was just thinking, we during these times we have understood that we are not the enemies, we are not each other's enemies, but the common enemy is a tireless virus that threatens our health, security, and very way of life. And with regards to everything that we are hearing, a peaceful world in the first sense would be to overcome this virus. And because COVID-19 has thrown our world into a turmoil, and forcibly reminded us that what happens in one part of the planet can impact people everywhere. So I think we need to face the new normal, like it says, we need to face the new normal and make sure that we stay strong in our visions for peace. And I would like, before we move to the next speaker, I just want to mention that we will be having breakout sessions after our speakers' sharings, so that you guys, our audience, can have the same interactive sessions, like you share your ideas with each other, and we will have the soul of this Youth Connection Cafe is us discussing with each other, getting new friendships, learning new things. So I believe the breakout sessions is what we are looking for. But we need to have the base, and our speakers are giving us the different topics with regards to understanding the different visions of peace. So thank you, Erin, for sharing your youth visions of peace. Let me move to our next speaker. Our next speaker is from Mexico, and he is Shabadrang Singh Khalsa. He is from the Fraternidad Interspiritual CC Mexico, and he did his BA on International Relations and Political Science, specialized on international analysis and the German language. We just heard he speaks more than 3 languages, so that's understandable. His professional experience has been related on both the government field and the private sector, mainly focused on the project management area. Shabadrang is Sikh by choice, and he has found inspiration and learned a lot from interfaith dialogue, encouraging people from different backgrounds to cooperate a lot from interfaith dialogue, and from a neutral loving space, to find a neutral loving space. Member of the Fraternidad Interspiritual since 2015, he has been, and he and his colleagues has been promoting interfaith understanding and cooperation through various activities, scenarios, and events among different religious communities in Mexico City. So, Shabadrang, sorry for misspelling your name, but it's an awesome name, by the way. So, Shabadrang, thank you for being here, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Isaac, and thanks everyone for having me here. It's really an honor to me to be here. I'm touched by every one of you, seeing different faces, hearing different languages, different backgrounds, and what we all have in common is that we are looking for a more peaceful world, right? Or at least a more peaceful community, right? So I know sometimes it looks like a very, very hard task to create a peaceful world. I have a quote here that I have always liked. It's a Sioux proverb, the Sioux people from America, from North America. And it says, there can never be peace between nations until it's known that true peace is within the souls of men. Okay, so I like this quote because it underlines that before we start looking for peace outside, right, we need to start looking for peace inside. Of course, it's truly important to highlight the problems that we are currently living in our own communities. But for me, the very first principle of peace is starting within ourselves. So what does it look like, peace, for me? Well, in my personal context and religious context, for example, there is this tradition of langar in the Sikh tradition, where everyone is welcome to sit and eat. It doesn't matter your origin or how rich you are, or if you are white or black, you're Asian, it doesn't matter. So you just sit there and share a meal with other people. So I think peace can be found in the very simple things, right? Sometimes we think that we can keep that just the great powers and great organizations can keep in some way like darkness at bay. But I found that everyday deeds are the things that keep really the people working on peace, like being kind to your neighbor, trying to understand your family, and being loving to not just the people you like or you find similarities with. It's just having a true conversation with others on what does it truly mean to be a human. So what we all share here is that we are human beings. We all have feelings, we all have minds, and we all have our own very personal human experience. So peace for me would be understanding the very nature of being a human, right? We all got differences. We all not can agree on every topic we talk about, certainly, but what we all can agree is about our own shared humanity, right? So I like to really highlight our humanity on my speech. As you know, I come from Mexico. Mexico has been living since like a couple of decades, a very hard situation when it comes about security, when it comes about social welfare, and when it comes about economics, right? So we've been like in a roller coaster throughout the years. So um, for the country, it has always been hard to be at peace when you have this inequality, right, among people. So I think it's also important to be conscious about this inequality and work for a more equal world. It doesn't matter your origin or your social status. So thanks everyone for hearing me, and well, I truly feel inspired by this kind of talks and spaces. So it means that we can start a conversation, a real conversation about our own problems and situations that we are facing in our own communities. So thanks a lot, and yeah, that would be all from my part.
Thank you so much, Shabadrang, for your amazing words, and mentioning equality being an important part of the youth arena that we work on. In a sense, we are trying to create this equal world for everyone, and rather than youth being a tokenistic, like a performer in meetings, we need our actions, our voices to be heard, and it to be considered and taken into actions in the global community. And this Youth Connection Cafe that we are having is one of the great platforms for us to initially start this initiative of us sharing within ourselves and then moving into the intergenerational, inclusive of all ages panels and events and organizing such things. So I believe the idea of equality and our regional problems that we face, we have to understand those as well. So thank you for sharing those wonderful words and your vision for peace. And it's really inspiring to have you here with us. And thank you once again. So we'll move on to our next speaker. And our next speaker is a wonderful speaker from Cape Town, South Africa. We have Akiba Kassy, who is from the Interfaith Initiative CC Cape Town, South Africa. Although she is originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo, she attends school at Gardens Commercial High School. Akiba is part of the Interfaith Schools program of the Cape Town Interfaith Initiative CC. She's also a member of the Nomzamo Club, which helps to educate and support girls to be involved in the sustainable development goals. So we are happy to have you here, Akiba, and the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I want to say thank you for having me today. So I was asked, what does peace mean to me? So to me, peace is not just calmness. It's not just being settled and being in a quiet place. It's also not just being in a comfortable place. It's not just being not at war. To me, it's not determined to your current circumstances. It's more than that. It's more than just being in a war, fighting one another, having a conflict. To me, being at peace is not just going at the beach and listening to the waves, or being at home where there's no noise or no stress. To me, peace is being able to smile and being able to laugh or enjoy life while there's a disaster around you. Peace is also where you are in the middle of a mist storm and you are able to push through it. Peace is, I don't think or feel that you need to wait for your current situations to change to have peace, or to wait for people to love and respect you the way you think you should be treated. I think peace starts within yourself. And I know it's difficult to know where to start, but I know that if you have inner peace, you will know where to start. And I was also asked, what are my thoughts and a vision of a peaceful world look to me? For me, it was way difficult to answer this question because we live in a life where so many things change, so many problems come through, and we don't know what to do. So a peaceful world to me is where there is fairness, where there's justice, and when there's justice, there is peace. And for me, peace is where we are able to accept one another for each other's differences, listen to each other's opinions, and not letting people change our ways of living. And peace is where we are able to utter words that don't demotivate people or make people feel less than they are. I think peace is where you inspire people and not where you separate relationships, but where we build relationships, and where where we where we where we don't just speak about kindness and sweetness. I am part of an interfaith program where I was at a peaceful state where we didn't judge each other for where we're from. We didn't judge each other for our differences. We didn't judge each other because of our cultural differences. I think that one of the most rare gifts that humans have is that we have the ability to connect to one another's feelings and reach out to each other through words. I think that we should use words that arise from an inner state of peace, moving into a space of feeling gratitude. And we have the ability to transform lives, and also being able to be able to heal hearts, and also helping one another by the words we speak. Being peaceful is not just what is around us, but it's what's within us. So I think that our future generation needs every hand that we need to help us receive the equal and peaceful and beautiful world that we want to live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Akiba, for your graceful words. And I was just thinking while you were speaking, why we need to envision peace. Why are we doing this? Why the Youth Connection Cafe, where the topic is youth visions for peace, important? Because I think it's important. Envisioning peace is important to promote cooperation, to end violence, to enable justice. And I don't think, like some religious organizations or maybe, like religious leaders simply knit into unity, by careful structure will create peace. First of all, like you said, I think we need to understand each other, we need to connect with each other and trust and finally transform. So thank you for sharing that wonderful idea, your vision for a peaceful future. And I hope, you'll be an inspiration and model for many young women to grow up and become peace ambassadors. So thank you, Akiba. Let's move on to our next speaker, Fareena Maria. She is also part of our 1 Billion Youth for Peace and the Global Youth Movement CC. She is an engineer who co-founded a software company in India and currently works as a business specialist in UAE. She is associated with several social organizations and was the youth representative from India at the IARF World Congress held at Birmingham, UK. She is looking forward to associating herself with many more causes and propagating the wisdom she receives. Her main interests lies in women and youth empowerment. Her passion is to travel the world and learn from all the people she meets. Her motto is, let's change the world one deal at a time. So let me invite Fareena, our dear friend from Dubai, UAE. So Fareena, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Isaac, for that wonderful introduction. Assalamu alaikum, people. This means, may the peace and blessings of the Lord be upon you all. They say that the shortest distance between any two people is their story. So here I am today to share with you all two stories of my life. Very similar, yet very different. It was 2014 when I had the privilege to go to London for a peace conference. I was young and traveling so far for the first time in my life. I landed wearing my favorite hoodie and flaunting my new hairstyle. Yes, I did not wear a headscarf back then. And it felt like I was in a movie. Everything went smoothly, from immigration to checking into our hotel. I would say it was my best trip ever. Then fast forward 5 years and one hijab later, I went to the United States to pursue my master's degree. Again, it felt like I was in a movie. Although this time, I think the genre was a little different. It was the month of Ramadan, and I had traveled for 18 hours. Famished, homesick, and jet-lagged, all I wanted was some food and a place to crash. But it so happened that that was my lucky day, because I was selected for a random check. And no offense to dog lovers over here, but I am frightened of dogs. So, of course, I was a little bit jumpy when they got sniffer dogs near me. Anyways, 6 hours, I think a little more, and countless questions later, I was allowed to leave. What did I do? Nothing. I went about my day normally, because this was exactly what I expected. I had taken 17 flights that year, and in every flight, I was lucky to not have anybody sit next to me. I mean, access to the AL seat and the window seat at once seems like a perk, but only until you reach immigration and then spend hours over there. This is what the world has come to. We are surrounded by judgment and bias. Even before we exchange a single word with a person, we have a persona in our mind based on their looks, dressings, mannerisms. A few sentences in, and we make even more judgments. Let me take the example of a question we asked multiple age groups. My friend will be sharing the screen so you all can see the question too. So a father and his son go on a road trip. They meet with a terrible accident. The father dies at the scene and the son is rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, the surgeon looks at the boy and says, "I can't operate on this boy. He is my son." Can somebody tell me how is this possible? Feel free to unmute yourself. I will give you about 30 seconds.
I know this, so I will just keep quiet.
Anybody else, or you can go? I feel nobody is having ideas as such. Sure, go ahead. Give us the answer. What do you think? How is this possible?
I think the surgeon is the actual father and the accidented father is the stepfather.
Okay, stepfather could be one option. Okay, any other options?
I see JP has raised his hand, John Paul.
Yes, JP.
I think just
maybe the child reminds him of his own son. That's why he thought that.
Okay, child reminds him of his own son. That's why. Okay, any other option?
I was just gonna go. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that to him. Everybody looks the same.
Okay.
You
So
can have
we asked this question to people of different age groups. Okay, when we asked it to adults, they took forever, but they came up with some answers. When we look at the word surgeon in this context, there's only one image that comes into our mind. It's a man with a white coat, with some glasses and a stethoscope in an operation theater. But for this question, the answer that came to my mind was that the surgeon is the mother, because we don't associate women with jobs such as surgery. Another answer could be that the child had two fathers. It does not have to be a conventional family. And like I think Ali said, it could be his stepfather. So when we asked this question to kids, they were very quick to come up with answers like mother, stepfather, godfather, grandparent, so many answers. And probably even more, but I cannot see them because of my own biases. This shows that it exists within all of us. Bias about gender, race, language, age, you name it, we have it. And this is what we as a generation have started calling people out on. Now, my vision for peace as a society is when we are open to listening to every individual with the same amount of respect and importance. We need to understand that a person can be a mother, a sister, a politician, an intern, and a boss all at the same time. An intern can have a solution to a problem that the boss couldn't find. An uneducated village boy could have a startup idea that would solve a problem in Ireland. All we need to do is give equal opportunity and listen. All problems that threaten peace, be it unemployment, no access to resources, or even wars, could be solved when we stop making judgments and start asking questions. Peace is about all the elements that come together to provide human security. It is saving the tigers. It is nuclear disarmament. It is having access to medical equipment. It is all of these things, but mainly it is action. And we don't need to wait for governments or large support groups to start working towards attaining such a society. We can start by ourselves. Take the first step. This Youth Connection Cafe is such an example where we have the opportunity to share our stories, our desires, and our plans. As the future of the world, we must have the courage to claim our curiosity, to go beyond everything we ever knew and everything we ever feared. I have learned through experience that when someone really wants to understand, they will be willing to cross that threshold of fear and ask. It's as simple as, hi, what's your name? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fareena. I even feel I think a little bit biased when I couldn't find the answer for this question, because I literally thought surgeon would be a man. So I feel very low now. So thank you for this. For letting us into that dimension of a peaceful world without bias and without pre-visioning something of a person, of a human being. And I was thinking of an example. A wall of loose bricks, right? It's never good. But that doesn't mean that the wall has to be built with a single brick. We need all the bricks, right? Which should be cemented together to form the wall. So I think when we think of us individuals as different bricks, we need all to to come together to understand, to form the whole wall. And I think the idea of peace is something that unites us. So thank you, Fareena, for engaging us. And I think we are like on spot with time. So let me introduce our last speaker in this session. And like Fareena mentioned, he is going to, he's like a cameo appearance in this arena of Gen Zs and millennials. He is Alleyne Eric Lal. He is a 10-year-old boy born on December 14, 2010. He is an environmentalist activist and author from Kerala, India. He is the founder of the international environment organization called Third for Earth Foundation, having presence now in 56 countries with 12 successful projects and about 5,000 volunteers across the globe. His aim is to create a fleet of inspiring youth and children as the global warriors to be the guardians of the future. He's a peace ambassador of our 1 Billion Youth for Peace initiative. And I am super excited to welcome Alleyne Eriklal, our own Allu, to share his young vision of peace, for peace. So Allu, you have the floor.
Greetings to everyone. A company of good people is like walking into a shop of perfumes. Whether you buy the perfumes or not, you're bound to get the fragrance of the perfumes. The most educated people are destroying the world when the most less educated people are loving the world. Sometimes I think that what is education? Then afterwards I think that education is a culture of conservation, not destruction. Religions teach us to respect the nature, but really we are not respecting it, are we? Instead, we are fighting for our religions. Many people say, but they do not do things because they think that it's not their responsibility. They think that it is our responsibility. Many people say, do not throw away plastic wastes. It kills many lives and it is very dangerous for the environment. But what are they actually doing? They are doing all against nature instead of good for nature. The past generation give us everything, but not the guarantee of our life. When development destroys nature a lot. What is development? If we are only alive, then only can we do development. Man only looks for himself, not for others. When there is not a water to drink, food to eat, and oxygen to breathe, then man will realize that they cannot eat money, drink money, and breathe money. But there is a solution. The solution is plant a tree.
Hello, are you there? I think we lost him.
Just at the crucial moment.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get him back. Allu? Okay.
Allu, can you hear us? So, yeah, let's. Sarah, do you want to wait for him or let's conclude this session? Yeah, I think he went off. So
it looks like he's dropped off. Maybe we can get him to come back at the end to finish.
So yeah, on behalf of Allu being here, I was thinking just my final thoughts would be, at 10 years in my age, at my 10 years, I was still playing with my pencil box, and now this young kid is with us. Even like speaking to us in such.
Isaac uncle, I just go because of a net connection. I just got out of the meeting.
No worries, Allu. You can continue. You can continue.
A special thank you to Isaac uncle. I was about to finish. That is the time when the net just went off somehow.
Okay, thank you, Allu. So, I was just closing the session by, thinking of the quote of Paulo Coelho, when you really want something, the whole universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. So, there's no specific time or place or age to be peace builders or peace multipliers. And I think Allu is a perfect example for this. So we are concluding our speakers session. Now we will be moving on to the breakout rooms, and Sarah will, so the power is back to Sarah.
Thank you, Isaac. And I just also want to say, Allu, thank you. You ended by just sharing with us the power of planting a tree. And I know, if everybody on this call takes that as a commitment for Allu and for Heart for Earth in India to plant a tree, that will make it will make a significant difference. And I just want to thank you, Allu, for your commitment to the earth and to the planet. At the age of 10, you're such an inspiration to us all. So we've heard a lot. I don't know how everybody's feeling. Heads are probably full, but we've heard a lot about the structural inequalities that exist in our world, in our different contexts, and what that looks like in terms of the change we need to see in creating peace. And then how important inner peace is for us, and the work that we need to do in ourselves to nurture that inner peace, to be able to create peace in the world. And so we're going to have some time in breakout rooms, really just to connect and share any reflections that are coming up, and a chance for you to think about, what does peace mean and look like in your context? So I invite you to be curious about the people in your room, give a chance to introduce yourselves and where you're all from, and to what connected with you from what the speakers shared, and other things you would add from your particular context and the work that you're doing, of what peace looks like for you. And we'll have 15 minutes, so make sure everybody has a chance to share, and then come back and we have some exciting announcements to share with you after that. So hopefully everybody gets into a room okay. And if you land up in a room and people aren't speaking the language that you are comfortable with, please come back and I will move you to the correct room. Vasu and Rosara, I know I've put you in the same room, so if you can manage translation there. But yeah, have fun.
Sarah, can we stop recording?
Yes. Thank you, Isaac.